So I'm told. And
Thank you. No, please.
a line formed. Oh, jeez.
Wonderful hour to get up.
Stop right there.
Not been that much, okay.
Then I get to sit in the Miami airport.
Oh, Lord. Take a good deck of cards.
Alderman Dimmick, can you hear me?
I can.
Oh, I'm so
Hear me?
jealous. I'm so jealous. I would love to go
Got
there.
At least the audio portion of it going. Hang on one second. Say something for me, Alderman Dimmick, please.
Oh, he's
Yes,
doing
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah,
And you can see
no problem.
the dais as well, right?
Problem.
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry, but I don't have you up on the screen yet.
That's okay. It's not going to offend me.
Undescribed location. I don't know yet.
I can see and I can hear.
The only thing I don't have is him up on the screen. I have
Question services.
I have a blue screen. I guess that is the second monitor.
I got an email on Friday from Chris who said, "Oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you, we're leaving town. I hope you're still in town."
That's far more.
Okay. This is after I read all the things about what could be happening at the meeting, and I'm like, no.
Got it.
There he is.
All right. Well, thank you, sir.
No. I thought about it though. David, can you hear us?
I can, Tom.
Okay. Are you at an undisclosed location?
Sarasota, Florida.
Oh, that's fabulous.
Have a right to remain silent.
Yep, hold on one second here.
You look tan.
After one day?
And rested and ready. And Sonny's definitely not coming, is that correct? Okay. Okay, sir. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the March 18th edition, 2019, of the City of Brentwood's Board of Aldermen regular meeting. We have a fairly packed agenda this evening. We'll try to get through it in a timely fashion for you. If you have an opportunity, now would be the chance, if you haven't already, to get some paperwork outside the chambers to follow along in the meeting. We have pretty much a full accompaniment this evening. One of our alderpersons, Alderwoman Sims, has a family issue. She's not able to attend this evening. And Chairman of Ways and Means, Alderman Dimmitt, is away this evening, but attending by Skype. And we're going to get the meeting underway right now, if we could, please, with Pledge of Allegiance.
One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And roll call, please.
Alderman Dimmitt,
Here.
Alderman Kramer,
Present.
Alderman Leahy, Alderman Lockmiller,
Here.
Alderwoman O'Neill, Alderman Plufka,
Here.
and Alderman Weggie,
Here.
and Alderwoman Sims is absent, and Mayor Thornton.
And thank you so much. That reminds me, our mayor's taking some well-deserved time off, otherwise he'd be here this evening. And I'll try to once again get us through the agenda just as efficiently as we can. Approval or amendment of the agenda items, if we could have a motion to take as presented or a motion for changes. We have a first and a second.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
if I may, I would like to alter the agenda if I may.
Okay.
There is a bill 6233 that I have submitted at each of the aldermen's places, a potential revision to that bill. I've highlighted and marked up the changes that staff and I went through last week and worked on. I would like to request that this bill, instead of doing a second reading, that to give the board an opportunity to read these changes and digest them, if we could possibly table Bill 6233 until Monday night, April 1st meeting, which will still be within the moratorium period for this corridor. I would also like to request that Bill 6234, which is the moratorium bill, also be tabled until that time.
Okay. Alderman, we have a motion on the floor already to accept the agenda as presented. Would it be acceptable to you when we got to those items on the agenda to take a look at your request?
If that's the way you'd like to proceed, sir, that will be fine.
If we could, sir.
Yes, sir, Wes.
Over here.
Yeah.
It was for your motion.
Yeah.
Yeah, you bet.
Motion and a second to accept it as presented, and we've got some notes from Alderman Leahy we're going to take up here in a little bit. But first, if we could, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And that motion carries. On to the other parts of the agenda, and we're up to the Brentwood Historical Society and a recognition of our chair of the, yes, sir, please come forward, Mr. Wright.
Thank you. Good evening. I'm Ed Wright, and I'm Vice President of the Brentwood Century Foundation, also a member of the Brentwood Historical Society. Last month, at a meeting, we were able to honor 4 residents who had lived in Brentwood at least 75 years. And because Rosemarie Cornfield wanted a night just to herself, we arranged for some snow and ice to keep her homebound that night. But we're so glad that she's going to be here tonight. At that time, and Fitzgerald, our BCF president and the Brentwood Historical Society president, talked about what Brentwood was like in 1944, 75 years ago. And he mentioned things about houses and businesses and things like that. But being a Cardinal fan, I couldn't let it go by without mentioning that that was the year of the Streetcar World Series, too, when I'm sure Brentwood residents might have been a little split between the Cardinals and the Browns. But, of course, the Cardinals won 4-2. But there were a lot of things different about back then than they are now. And we are so glad that we were able to honor the longtime residents. And tonight, a very special person. And Rosemarie and I were talking earlier about the connections between our families. And she mentioned that she babysat one of my cousins back in Brentwood. And her, I think one of my uncles was her brother's best friend, I believe. And we've had a lot of connections, our families. And of course, their family is just a wonderful foundational family here in Brentwood and has been for years. Rosemarie lived on High School Drive, which she informs me used to be called Railroad Avenue. And we were kidding about that. She was in the BHS, the Brentwood High School class of 1947. And she moved to the city when she married, but she moved back so her kids could attend Brentwood schools, and we're so glad they did. She lived on Manderley has lived on Manderley 51 years, and we're so glad to honor her. Not only are we honoring her tonight for living in Brentwood for 75 years, but on Wednesday, she turns 90 years old. So we are very happy to honor her for that. So, Rosemarie, if you want to step up here, and we'll give you a plaque.
I told him I didn't want to get up because I can't.
Thank you, and I know Steve is going to tell you more about what's going on with the Centennial. We're very happy with how it's begun, and thank you for your support so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Much appreciated. Thank you, ma'am, for being here tonight. Steve, do you want to say anything now? Go right ahead.
I was going to wait till the reports.
Okay, we can do that. The next item on the agenda is a recognition, the GFOA, Government Finance Officers Association. Would you like me to go through this, Bola? All right, so the city of Brentwood, Missouri has received notice from the Government Finance Officers Association on February 25th of this year. The city's comprehensive annual financial report, otherwise affectionately known as the CAFR, for the fiscal year ended 2017, qualifies for the GFOA Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting. And the Certificate of Achievement is the highest form of recognition in governmental accounting and financial reporting, and its attainment represents a significant accomplishment by a government and its management. This certificate and achievement will be presented formally to Karen Shaw, our finance director. A press statement forthcoming to give appropriate publicity to the notable achievement. Once again, this is an outstanding congratulations to the city financial department, Karen Shaw, and all those involved. Thank you so much for this achievement and excellence for fiscal year 2017. Thank you. Have no hearing scheduled. And now, ladies and gentlemen, is an opportunity for citizen comments. If there's anyone here who would like to come forward and give us your name and or your address, or just your name is fine. All things are welcome. Compliments, criticism, questions, we're all right here. Now be the opportunity.
Karen Smith, I live on Harrison. Is it possible to get a copy of the marked up changes that are being proposed for Bill 6233?
Oh, we happen to have a copy right there. Okay, anybody else? Yes, sir. Come on down.
Dan Schwann's with Life Storage, and
Hi.
I'd just like to see those changes before I speak as well.
Okay, all right. Would anybody else like to come forward? Right. There is another opportunity for citizen comment towards the end of this meeting. So if there's something that you're reviewing now and you'd like to make a comment about it, there's still an opportunity forthcoming. Anybody else like to come forward and address the board? Now is your opportunity. Right? And we're going to close public comment. We're up to the aldermanic and mayoral reports. Chris has nothing for us that I'm aware of. And we're up to Ways and Means Chairman Alderman Dimmitt.
No comment, no report.
Okay. I have no report as well. Alderman Leahy.
The Ward 3 meeting for the month of March will be Tuesday night, the 26th of March at 7 p.m. at the Rec Center. And it's an open meeting for all those that would like to attend with Mr. Lockmuller and myself. Thank you.
Sounds good. Thank you. And Chairman of Public Works, Alderman Lockmiller.
Yeah, I've got a Brentwood Century Foundation item. The Brentwood Century Foundation will sponsor the Brentwood Sons and Daughters Centennial Art Exhibit. This will be at the Drury Hotel, May 30th. It will take place at 11 a.m. and run till 8. And what this will feature is some of the artists that live within our community or have lived in there. And my finger painting from first grade will be exhibited, so you may all want to attend. But no, we've got a lot of talented people here in Brentwood, and you're all welcome. It's free to the public, so that'll be, once again, March 30th. You can go brentwood.100.org and get more information. Thank you.
Outstanding. Chairman of Public Safety, Alderman Plufka. Oh, sorry, Alderwoman O'Neill. Sorry.
Call attention to all of the programming that has been going on down there lately. All sorts of opportunities to join in. For many of them, you don't even have to be able to read or like to read. But the one that is getting a unusually large attendance is yoga for toddlers. So there's lots of programming. On another note, Ward 4 will also have its monthly meeting on the 26th, Tuesday at 6 o'clock, and that will be at the Brentwood Forest Clubhouse, and anyone's welcome to come see it.
Thank you. Alderman Plufka.
I have no report. Thank you.
Alderwoman Sims is absent this evening. Alderman Weggie.
No report.
We're up to the Brentwood Bound update. Madam City Administrator or her appointed representative for this evening.
Good evening. Craig Schlitter with Navigate Building Solutions. I'll be providing the Brentwood Bound update.
Okay.
In regards to investment costs, recent investment costs include an escrow deposit for the 8 West properties. Total spent to date is $3,998,118.27. Recent direct costs include Manchester Road improvements and Deer Creek flood mitigation design and engineering. Total spent to date is $2,229,644.04. And lastly, recent indirect or sunk costs include Brentwood Bound information and communication materials, Brentwood Bound informational videos, and project management fees. Total spent to date is $1,043,868.51. Any questions?
Go right ahead.
Hey, Craig, I know there was some email traffic about the Clomar being not accepted but received. Any additional updates on the Clomar or any additional information at this point?
Sure. So FEMA is supposed to provide their first round of comments mid-April. We did get a response last week with a few preliminary comments, and the comments were very small in nature and simple, which is positive news because sometimes when you get initial comments, you can quickly figure out if there's a problem or not. And by the nature of them just being very simple comments, it helps determine that the comments that Brentwood should receive in a couple weeks should be very simple, which should help streamline the Clomar process. So we did get those. The official response is still due mid-April, if not earlier, but we're positive on what those will look like.
And then the process, so mid-April we'll receive preliminary comments.
Correct.
I guess adjudicate all of those, send it back, and then is the process they accept the Clomar or not?
Correct. Yeah, so they'll, Jacobs Engineering will provide the response after the first round of comments, then FEMA will have roughly another 90 days, and then they can then approve the Clomar process, which we expect around midsummer, around July timeframe.
Okay, thanks for the update.
Yes.
Alderman Plufka.
Thank you. I understand it. So we made the application in January, but wasn't there recent information, mostly design information, with regard to the look of the watershed areas? Wasn't that submitted to FEMA more recently than January?
So the Clomar was issued in January. I think it was the January 17th Board of Aldermen meeting. It was that day that was sent. Maybe what you're thinking of is an email that Bullitt sent out to the board about some maps. Is that what you're thinking of?
Right.
So Alderman Leahy had asked a question about, he wanted to see some models about what Hurricane Ike would look like in regards to the Brentwood Bound area. So in response, Alderman Leahy, Bullitt sent that out to the whole board. So that was not anything to do with the Clomar. It was a request from Alderman Leahy to just see how that would look.
So there was no additional design information that was submitted to FEMA since the application was originally sent?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions?
Anybody else?
Great.
For your report, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Next item on the agenda, ladies and gentlemen, we have the consent agenda. Give you an idea what's on that list before we contemplate any changes, if any. We've got your standing committee reports for the Public Works, Ways and Means, the Public Safety Committees. You've got Resolution 1134, comes after the March 4th approval of minutes, if that passes. Once again, a Resolution 1134 covers a new permit and permit application for small vehicle share program. The 1136 resolution covers a lease agreement with NeoPost for a term of 60 months for a new postage mail machine for the city. Resolution 1137 has some substantial importance and adopts the fiscal year 2018 budget amendment. Staff's reviewed the fiscal year 2018 budget and identified exceptions, both up or down in the revenue and expenditure line items that require amending. The total general revenues are going to go up by $33,525 and expenditures decreasing by $190,950 from the 2018 adopted budget. Capital Improvement Fund revenue and expenditures are $77,000 and $704,700 less than the 2018 adopted budget. The Stormwater and Parks Improvement Fund revenue and expenditures are $39,062,300 and $3,214,450 more than the 2018 adopted budget. And lastly, the sewer improvement revenues and expenditures are $70,000 and $111,500 more than the 2018 adopted budget. And if you followed that closely, you're doing very well. Street light banners for the Brentwood Centennial kind of came up. Public Works Committee has reviewed and recommended approval of a motion. This is for vertical banners that could be attached to a city-owned street lights along roadways like Litzinger, Rose, Strassner, Hanley Industrial Court. Those would be used to promote the city of Brentwood Centennial forthcoming. And finally, the warrant lists for 2019, the operating budget, $331,946.19, and the 2019 series of certificates of participation proceeds, $324,342.74. With that in mind, if we could have any questions regarding those or a desire to remove any of those items. Any questions? Any desire to move or remove? Okay. That being the case, we need a motion to approve the consent agenda as submitted.
So moved, Your Honor.
Second.
First and a second. And we are spending money, so we'll need a roll call, please.
Alderman Dimmitt,
Yes.
Alderman Kramer,
Yes.
Alderman Leahy,
Yes.
Alderman Lockmiller, Alderwoman O'Neill, Alderman Plufka,
Yes.
and Alderman Weggie.
Yes.
Okay, so thanks. We have the approval of the consent agenda and all those items that were up and included in that list. Now up to the old business and a couple items that may have some conversation or potential change. And the first one up here is Bill number 6233. Before we get to any motions, Mr. City Attorney, may we please have the second reading of Bill 6233 by title only?
I was under the impression there was going to be a motion to table the matter. We can read it first or entertain the motion first as you wish.
If we could read it first?
We can do that.
Please.
As soon as I get it up
Okay.
here. Bill number 6233, second reading and consideration for adoption, an ordinance amending Chapter 400 of the Brentwood City Code to establish the MC Manchester Corridor Commercial Zoning District.
So we have that second reading, Bill 6233 by title only. Are there any questions regarding that motion or with any potential changes? Yes.
Well,
Mr.
under point of order, you need to have a first and second
We
to
can do
move
that.
towards it, and then I can make the amendment request.
And you're not contemplating any changes from what we heard earlier? Your motion earlier was not going to be changed?
Correct.
Okay.
Motion to perfect 6233 in the ordinance form.
Second.
First and second.
Yep.
Alderman Leahy.
Thank you, Your Honor. At your places, I have placed a marked-up copy of Bill 6233, and I've highlighted different sections that were critical, and with staff's help that we went through and made some changes to it. What I would like to do is ask that we table voting on this until you all have a chance to read the changes that we would like to suggest, and then we can do a potential vote on Monday night, the 1st of April, to potentially accept the revision and then potentially pass or defeat the bill as revised. It's unfortunately a little encumbersome, so just to throw it at you tonight and say, here, let's pass this and incorporate it, doesn't do the bill justice. So I'd like to make the amendment that we table moving forward on the bill till April 1st. Now, we are currently under a moratorium that does not end until midnight of April 1st. Our meeting's at 7 p.m., so we would still have a chance to work through this bill and still be within the moratorium timeframe. So that's the motion I'm asking the board to consider right now.
I guess the only challenge that I have is we have a motion on the floor to perfect the bill. And,
And I'm moving to table that action
Okay.
because of the potential of the revision and to give the board the courtesy to read the revision to determine if they would like to vote to accept it or reject it before you vote to accept or reject the bill itself.
Madam City Administrator, the Alderman calls out a timing issue regarding the emergence or not of us needing to pass this by a certain time frame. Could you confirm that or give us?
If you could recognize Lisa Gorkenmeyer.
Absolutely.
We spoke about this earlier, and she can speak to that.
Director Lisa.
Your Honor, I have a point of order.
Sure.
Has there been a second to the motion to table?
There has not.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Okay, there we go. Here's why I didn't want to take the motion to perfect it to begin with, was because now we have two motions on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And my guess is the folks who made the motion to perfect it are not going to be willing to change that motion. Would that be correct?
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
You have a motion to,
Perfect? Right.
so we should discuss that and vote on that, and then come back to the original motion.
Okay. I have no problem with that. I'm just trying to help you understand why I didn't want to do that first. I wanted to have you have an opportunity to state what the issue was. So we do have a motion on the floor. The point of order is correct. We have a motion and a second on the floor. So before we entertain your motion, which was first and seconded by you and by Alderman Lockmiller, let's go back to the conversation on 6233. So your point is you have this proposed amendment and you've got these changes in mind for various reasons.
Yes.
And you have presented this. Did we get these emailed, or is this the first time we've seen
It
these?
was emailed earlier today.
Okay. Does anybody else have any questions regarding the motion on the floor? Alderman Plufka.
I'll make another point of order, and I'll ask our city attorney to weigh in on this if I'm mistaken. But to pass an ordinance, don't we require 5 votes no matter how many people are here tonight?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And does acting mayor vote in this circumstance?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, goodness. So much fun.
No, Mr. Plufka makes a very good point. Thus, delaying doing any voting gives us the courtesy of picking up Mrs. Sims.
That was my point.
Yes, to work with.
Madam City Administrator or Mr. City Attorney, do we have a need to remove the second motion that's on the floor before we go forward?
The motion to table goes to the motion to adopt the bill. So he's asking that the motion to adopt the bill be tabled.
So that would be subsumed.
That is in order.
Okay. Motion to adopt the bill, not amend the bill.
No motion to amend has been made.
Right.
Motion to table the bill.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So if I'm hearing you correctly, we need to take up the motion to table the bill first.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions regarding that motion? Alderman Wakey.
I'm not in favor of the tabling. I mean, just looking through this, we got it at 11:15 today. I see systemic changes that, in my mind, would probably trigger another first and second. We are so close to the moratorium closing. Some of these, honestly, are probably unconstitutional. I see significant changes that actually make it more convoluted and I don't know, chaotic than I think it was before. So I am not in favor of punting on it, and I think we should vote on the ordinance tonight.
Alderman Dimmitt, do you have any questions or thoughts on the topic?
I had decided with Alderman Leahy on this since I'm out of town. I haven't had an opportunity really to look this thing over completely, so I would appreciate some the tabling of this thing if at all possible.
Okay, Alderman Lockmiller.
That's pretty much the reason why I seconded Alderman Leahy's motion, because I'm just now getting this. I don't think the public's had it. Problem with waiting a couple more weeks.
Thank you.
Alderwoman O'Neill.
I can't hear her.
Okay. We've been studying this for months. We've had explanations of why it will work. having major changes to it now seems a little bit past the point, especially when some of these changes could go on for great debate. So I would not be in favor of tabling it. I'd like to see it passed tonight.
Very interesting. Any further questions? All right, so the motion that we have on the floor, yes, Alderman Weggie.
One more question. So, Lisa, when does the moratorium end, and what is the impact if we don't have this passed by the time the moratorium ends?
Good evening. So what was stated is that the moratorium was extended, but it is going to end at midnight on April 1st. So we do have the one more Board of Aldermen meeting that would be scheduled before the moratorium ended. The consequences of that, if we would go beyond the moratorium period, is that we take the moratorium off, we're back open to accepting any type of development applications for the Manchester corridor.
So the mayor would need to sign it that night before midnight for that to be.
Point of clarification.
Yes, please.
It's April 2nd, right? 12:01 a.m. on.
So, yeah, so April 2nd is when it expires. So.
Midnight April. Okay. Alderman Lockmiller.
So somebody would have to be standing on your door at 8 o'clock, April 2nd, with a petition for redevelopment. But if the mayor signs it that night, then we're fine, right?
I'll
Mr. City
defer to
Attorney.
The city attorney, just to be sure.
I don't think anyone is going to gain vested rights in the time frame we're talking about. If they show up and the mayor signs the bill and 2 days later, they will not have achieved some vested right in a plan that's been submitted, particularly since they will be held to know the circumstances under which they're acting. I don't think a court is going to say, aha, gotcha. Now, they might, but I don't think so. Courts like to say that sometimes.
Alderman Weggie.
So what are the conditions when a bill has been changed enough that it would trigger the need for a public hearing again and a first and a second reading?
It's largely in the determination of the Board of Aldermen. If the board believes that the changes are substantive, sufficient to require return to the restart of the process, you are certainly free to do that. In general, if the changes are foreign, if they were contemplated and not recommended, then reinstituting them here would not be a substantive change from what P&Z had considered. If they are foreign to what was considered by P&Z and are substantive and substantial, I would think the board would probably want to have the benefit of P&Z's consideration of those elements. Where that line is exactly is in the judgment of the board collectively.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Alderman Leahy.
Yes, sir.
The chair recognizes that you have availed yourself of an opportunity to have various questions and answers regarding these topics through the city email system.
Yep.
Do you believe that you've had sufficient enough time to go through that process and receive all the answers that you requested?
Yes, between the email that I sent that you all were copied on the response and then working with Lisa and John to revise the bill as I've marked up, I don't believe there's anything critically substantive changed. There's just some clarifications that we've put in. The biggest change that I think that we made was on the height of the buildings on the south side of Manchester Road under the conditional use permit. You could go up to the 75-foot, but not on the north side. In conforming to the comprehensive plan for that potential area, the comprehensive plan cites a 1 to 3 story building. So we just clarified that north side where you're buffering the residential, that we stay with the 1 to 3, but if you wanted to go conditional use permit to go higher, then it would have to be on the south side of Manchester itself. And I think that's the biggest change that we made to the bill in it.
Alderman Plufka.
Your Honor, respectfully, I would call the question on the motion to table.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. We've got a motion and a second on the floor, and a roll call, please.
We're voting to table, right?
This is a vote to table Bill
Thank you.
6233 consideration until the next
Yes.
Board of Aldermen meeting.
Yes, okay.
Alderman Dimmitt,
Yes.
Alderman Kramer,
Yes.
Alderman Leahy,
Yes.
Alderman Lockmiller. Alderwoman O'Neill,
No.
Alderman Plufka,
No.
and Alderman Weggie.
No.
Vote of 4-3.
Okay.
It is, right.
And so,
We have
in
to
that
dispose of
event,
6234 in the same way.
Bill 6234, we're up to the second reading for that one as well. Mr. City Attorney, or no?
Assume there's going to be a motion to table that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, can we?
Yes.
I was going to do that before, but go ahead.
Your Honor, I would like at this time to request that we table the second reading and the vote on Bill 6234 on the moratorium for the Manchester Road corridor until the Monday night, April 1st meeting.
Second.
We have got a motion and a second. Does anybody have any questions regarding that particular motion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Dimmitt,
Yes.
Alderman Kramer,
Yes.
Alderman Leahy,
Yes.
Alderman Lockmiller,
Yes.
Alderwoman O'Neill,
Yes.
Alderman Plufka,
No.
and Alderman Weggie.
No.
Count of 5 yea, 2 nay.
Thank you, Madam Deputy City Clerk. Up on old business, Bill 6235. Mr. City Attorney, if we could, please, the
Bill number
second reading.
6235, second reading and consideration for adoption, an ordinance adopting an open meeting and records policy for the city of Brentwood, Missouri, and amending the city code in regards thereto.
Thank you, sir. Kind of a housekeeping measure. The bill covers a provision in the revised statutes of the state of Missouri Code requiring the public governmental bodies in our state provide a written policy in compliance with the Missouri Open Meetings and Records Act, Code of Ordinances of the city of Brentwood, amended hereby by the addition of one new chapter containing 2 new articles and 19 new sections pertaining to that new records policy, Bill 6235. Motion to perfect.
Your Honor, I move to perfect Bill 6235 into ordinance form.
Second.
We have a first and a second. Any questions regarding that motion? And a roll call, please.
Alderman Dimmitt,
Yes.
Alderman Kramer,
Yes.
Alderman Leahy,
Yes.
Alderman Lockmiller,
Yes.
Alderwoman O'Neill,
Yes.
Alderman Plufka,
Yes.
Alderman Weggie.
Yes.
Vote 7 yea, 0 nay. Bill number 6235 becomes ordinance number 4872 upon signature of the mayor.
Thank you very much. We're moving along with our agenda this evening. As promised, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your patience. Citizen comments are next. Here is that aforementioned second opportunity to come forward and address the board. You've got a short time period, but certainly available for comments, suggestions, questions, comments, or criticism. Now is your opportunity. Yes, sir.
My name is Mike Doster. I'm an attorney representing Brentwood Life Storage. Thank you, Alderman, for permitting me to speak at this opportunity. I, first of all, would like some clarification on what happened on Bill number 6233. Has it, in fact, been tabled?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I think the vote was 4-3. Am I correct on that? We had previously written a letter on behalf of Brentwood Life Storage requesting that as a conditional use, permission be added to the conditional use section of the proposed bill that would allow an existing self-storage facility to expand or to upgrade. And I take it from looking at the changes that have been proposed that that was not going to be entertained. So I'm here to make a plea, a general plea. Our self-storage business is operating, and it's operating successfully. Ironically, if the district is developed the way you envision, the demand for the self-storage services will actually increase. People who live in apartments or condominiums, people who have small boutique retail operations, all need storage. And I was recently visiting a new multifamily development in West County and asked about their storage capacity. And if you looked at the closets, you would know that anything you have, you'd probably have to get rid of in order to move into them. And when you ask the question, what self-storage do you have on premises, they have limited storage, and it's a first come, first serve. So we think the self-storage facility would afford the district a valuable service if the district's developed as you all envision, which my client fully supports. My client thinks it's the right idea. However, if we are going to remain there, and as far as we can see into the future, we are going to remain where we are, we think it would make sense to allow, by way of a conditional use permit, if the city approved it with appropriate conditions, to allow an expansion and an upgrading of the facility so that it would comply with the standards that you are setting in the district. It would be a shame to leave a self-storage facility there, even though it's operating well and has increased demand from other residents and businesses in the district. It would be a shame to leave it the way it is. We have explored over the last couple of years at least ways to accomplish what we want to accomplish, which is to upgrade the facility, make it look good, and have not been successful doing that. We think this is a way to do it without creating any kind of a precedent that impacts the rest of the community. I think we had submitted some language. I don't know whether you all still have it. We would be happy to resubmit it. Thank you for listening.
Yep. Does anybody else like to come forward and address the board? Now's an opportunity. Name's great. Address if you can. If not, that's all right.
Hello, my name is Dan Schwanz. I'm with Life Storage, here representing Life Storage. Just to, I guess, further what Mr. Doster had said, we do support what's going on in the area where we operate. I did reach out to some of you I was able to speak with just to express, you know, that we approve what's going on, that we want to be a part of it. But also express the challenges that we're facing in upgrading the property. And, you know, from our standpoint, we're already incorporating a lot of the aesthetics that are called out in the planning phase in the new district. We do feel that the demand will increase with the rezoning effort and the development, and we want to be part of that. We want to upgrade our property, bring it in line with what you're trying to do. And we just need a little help getting there, relief from certain aspects in the language of our current zoning. We are a national company. We have a national footprint, but we are not an absentee landlord. We are not a franchise operation. We own and co-own all of our facilities, and we invest heavily in them to bring them up to our internal standard. And this is another project where we've been trying for a few years now. We feel the need is there. We want to be part of this community long term, and we want to invest. We have the financial wherewithal to get there. We're just looking for, like I said, a little help to get there. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Anybody else like to address the board? Now's the opportunity. And we're going to, yes, automatic response, Alderman Plufka.
I don't have an automatic response. I was going to make a motion that we adjourn to an executive session under Missouri Revised Statutes, Chapter 610.021, subsection 1, for legal, and under Missouri Revised Statutes, Chapter 610.021, subsection 3, personnel.
And adjourn.
And then
adjourn there.
To adjourn from that executive session.
Second, Your Honor.
First and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. We moved along. Not all of them. I have not.
I found a way to get the thing to charge by buying an actual Apple product.